r/AskReddit. Which villain do you feel sympathy for? Dr. Doofenshmirtz. His own brother is a ducking achievement. His mom values kickball over her own son. His dad made him be a garden gnome and stand outside of their home with their neighbor. I do not blame Dr. Doofenshmirtz for being evil. The shit he went through. Who wouldn't be evil? His parents didn't even show up for his birth. Dr. Doom. Usually he's portrayed just as a classic villain. Someone that wants to take over the world, kill the heroes, but the reason he wants to do it is what's kind of interesting. There was one comic where his kingdom of Latveria invades the kingdom of Wakanda. The Panther god gives him a test if I recall correctly, and he ends up passing the test because his reason for wanting to take over the earth is pure. He's been traveling through alternate timelines, and in every single one except one, human is wiped out in the future. The only future where humanity survives is one that is brought to order under his rule. Kind of a personification of the question, do the ends justify the means? Edit. Thanks guys for these nifty metals. First time getting these. Edit 2. https://www.reddit.com/comicbooks/2chewy Doom explains his vision for the world to the link to what I was thinking of. Also, I was wrong. He didn't actually go to these timelines, but I think he just looked into them, as some have kindly pointed out. That and Doom doesn't walk through doors like a peasant. He also toots as he pleases. Baby doll from the old animated Batman series. She was stuck looking young forever and it broke her down. She actually cried in Batman's arms because of it. I remember the episode where she went into a house of mirrors and one of them showed what she should have looked like at that age. It was such a short scene and had no dialogue, but damn it was powerful. Edit. Remembered it wrong. There was dialogue. Edit 2. YouTube link for the scene has been posted multiple times in replies. BTAS was insanely good at making in-depth characters. The boyfriend Ken from the Bee movie. So true. The girl chose a bee over him. A ducking bee. He's allergic to bees too. Megamind. But I guess that's the point. Such an underrated movie. Oh, you're a villain alright. Just not a super one. Oh yeah? What's the difference? Presentation. Welcome to the jungle starts playing. Edit. Now my highest voted comment is a Megamind reference. I'm okay with this. Gives me chills every time. Dracula from the Netflix Castlevania series. Dude lost his wife to religious fanatics after he rediscovered his humanity and had to fight and nearly kill his son. The only thing in this world that Lisa left him to remember her by. I don't know about you, but that was pretty much what sold me on the Netflix series. They completely changed Isaac, and it was fantastic. Dracula's relationship with him was so great. Isaac was ducking great. The dialogue between him and Dracula right before the final battle was just fantastic. Isaac. Behind me, Dracula. They will not get to you while I live. Dracula. You would give your mortal life to preserve me, you immortal one. Isaac. For you. For your knowledge. Everything. I am but a forger master, but yours is the wisdom of the ages. Dracula. You are the best of your people, Isaac. You have a soul, I think. And perhaps that will better serve the world to come than dusty old collection of books and apparatus. Isaac. I choose my death as I chose my life. Dracula. I'm afraid I have already made that choice for you. Amen. Dracula's bittersweet smile as he sends Isaac away. So emotional. Mr. Freeze. He's a truly beloved human being doing all he can for Nora. It's for Nora. You fools. This is another Batman TAS invention. The animated series gave him a backstory and pathos and Kang's voice. Before that he was just another goofy Batman villain with a nice gimmick. The animated series really is possibly the defining point in the history of Batman. Godzilla. He doesn't know it's wrong to stomp on buildings. He's just doing Godzilla things. Godzilla is actually seen as a hero in a lot of movies. He defeats other monsters that threaten humanity and his territory. Edit. How TF did a comment become my most upvoted thing? WTF. Wait, how many Godzilla movies are there? Polyphemus from Greek mythology. Poor dude was just living a peaceful life tending to his sheep. Odysseus and his Ashat friends barge in, kill some of his sheep, eat his food, and then hide in his home until he comes back. When confronted by Polyphemus, Odysseus has the ducking nerve to ask him for a welcoming gift in the name of Greek hospitality, Xenia. Then Polyphemus is painted as a villain for trying to kill these parasites that disrupted his lifestyle. Wow, good point. He literally was blinded by home invaders and left for dead, yet is somehow a bad guy. This isn't quite the whole story. Polyphemus ate some of his friends and you skip over some other stuff. Magneto. When you think how hard his life has been. Edit. His theme song is probably the best theme song for any movie character I know. Magneto's biggest issue is looking for quick solutions to a complex problem. Charles' dream of human-mutant coexistence is a slow and difficult one, but it's also the only one that doesn't end in segregation or genocide. Also, there is this big blue guy with celestial tech who is functionally immortal and wants to force everyone on Earth to fight in an end war to see who's the strongest. Maybe everyone should unite to fight the common enemy? Find some common ground in that? Magneto's biggest issue is looking for quick solutions to a complex problem. When you're capable of actually moving an entire colossal bridge with your mind because you want to walk onto an island, it's kind of understandable that you look for quick solutions. The Ice King. Please forgive me for whatever I do when I don't remember you. This magic keeps me alive, but it's making me crazy, and I want to save you. But who's gonna save me? Please forgive me for whatever I do when I don't remember you. Thomas from Tom and Jerry. He had to put up with that smart-ass mouse only because it was backed up by a massive dog with anger management issues. I thought Jerry was the villain though. Tom was a cat. He was supposed to get the mouse out of the house. Jerry was a bully. Jerry had no right to live there. Tom was the house pet. Duck and Jerry. As a small kid, though, Jerry was always the hero to me. He was cute and honorable. He had a heart of gold and was trying to survive in a hostile environment. As a 40-year-old, Jerry is a pest, a nuisance. And you know what, Jerry? If you don't like it, you can F off. Edit. Thank you, Reddit. Just woke up and my part of the world in this post has granted me my first silver, open bracket, and a whole load of upvotes. Javert from Les Miserables. He's a police officer who isn't corrupt in any way, shape or form. He is just so bent on justice that he leaves no room for mercy. He's entirely broken when mercy is shown to him that he commits suicide, as the worldview he's built for himself has been completely shattered, and he can't cope. Valjean doesn't even blame him for hunting him for so many years. There is nothing I blame you for. You've done your duty. Nothing more. Edit. Formatting. Exactly, neither of them are villains. Something the real villain is the system, and they're both the victims and products of it. Magneto. Holocaust survivor turned super powerful mutant who is always trying to protect his people so they never have to go what he went through in the camps. Edit. Thanks for the gold, my fellow human. I think X-Men First Class did an incredible job at portraying Magneto's background. He started out only wanted revenge against the Nazis who murdered his mother and his people, and also tortured him. As he grows up and faces more discrimination against mutants, his goal becomes revenge against all humans. In his own way, he has always tried to protect the marginalized, oppressed people like him. Frankenstein's monster. In the book, it's astounding how much of a jerk Victor is. Isn't that the whole knowledge is knowing Frankenstein is the doctor, wisdom is knowing that Frankenstein is the monster thing? Mr. Crocker, he's a mentally unstable man who lives with his mother and takes loans to build layers underneath the school and is tormented by a kid who looks like a beaver, and the one thing he dedicates his life to do exists, but every time he is close to proving it he fails and looks more crazy, and the time he stopped believes sick sighing and fairies after seeking help he had to be driven back into madness because he powers a large percentage of fairy world. And remember, Cosmo and Wanda were originally his, which means he was driven crazy when they left and weren't supposed to let him go crazy because they let him remember they existed unintentionally. As a result, he becomes the power source for fairy world and has to stay crazy. All the man wants is to finally be right so he can be happy. Edit. Quick Google of Fairly Odd Parents. The 15th of March yields the answer. It's season 3 episode 21 titled The Secret Origin of Denzel Crocker, so anyone who doesn't remember now, you can go find and watch the episode. The fact that he had fairies, to begin with, meant that his life was shitty enough to qualify in the first place. Loki grew up being told he has a chance of becoming king if he works hard enough. only for Thor to be in finding out he was actually an ice giant and adopted, and that because he is an ice giant he would never be king. Yeah, he does some shitty stuff, like trying to enslave the human race. But he's just a dramatic emo kid acting out after being lied to his entire life. See also, mythological Loki, Odin's blood brother, left his own people, the giants, to help the gods build Asgard and shit. Now every time something goes wrong they blame him, strangle pummel him, and force him to fix it even if it's not his fault. He lets a giant horse duck him and gets pregnant to help Odin out. Oh yeah, and the gods also treat Loki's kids like shit because they're ugly and scary. Anyway, after all this, Loki gets sick of it and raps a diss track at all the gods during a big party. So naturally they chain him to a rock and have a snake spit acid in his eyes forever. No wonder he switches sides at Ragnarok. Raps a diss track at all the gods during a big party. He straight up murdered Balder and framed poor blind Hodder. That, along with his escalating cruelties and the fact that he spawned a family of actual monsters, is why he got chained to the rock. Gollum, that is one messed up little hobbit. I wouldn't really call him a villain, but yes, I definitely feel bad for him. Edit. For those of you saying he's a villain, I don't agree. He's more like a junkie. Junkies are not necessarily bad people, but they will do what they think they need to in order to get their fix. I really liked it when in the books he saw Sam and Frodo sleeping in each other's arms and he sits near them touching them to feel a connection to something he once was without caring about the ring. Then Sam woke up and beat the shit out of him. Azula from Avatar, The Last Airbender. She was brought up to be her father's tool in the war, and in the end, that broke her. I feel sorry for her, not because she was used as a tool, but because she was the victim of some of the subtlest kind of abuse and neglect that anyone can imagine, which literally turned her into a monster. She suffered from serious mental illness and had crippling personality disorders. She's basically Zuko without Iroh there to fix all of her mental issues. Robbie Rotten. We all know Sportacus is the real villain. His sidekick is a 9-year-old girl. That's kinda suspicious, not gonna lie. Team Rocket, Jesse and James. I also feel sorry for Meowth. Oh man, Meowth's backstory of why he learned to speak human language is so sad. Gladys, she got turned to a potato. No, she was a computer powered by a potato, which is even more hysterical. How are you holding up? Because I'm a potato? Clap clap clap, oh good. That's still working. Sharpay Evans from High School Musical. Sure, she was a bit of a beach, but she had reasons to be. Troy and Gabriella were late to the first audition, hardly prepared, and still got a callback. Unlike Sharpay, who had been responsible, worked hard, and been on time. In the second movie, Troy is an absolute dong to her. She offers him connections and tries to get him a better future on the simple conditions that he hangs out with her and sings with her. She works hard for everything, and while she can come off as rude, she always comes around in the end to be a good person. She knows what she wants, and she isn't afraid to do what it takes to get it. There's a bunch of other stuff too. With that, I conclude my essay. Edit. I admit it. The film theory video inspired me to think of Sharpay. Sharpay was extremely talented and deserved that Juilliard scholarship. It's kind of weird how a lot of media, especially children's media, has protagonists who go far based on bloodline or natural talent or prophecy as opposed to hard work and ambition. I know the intent is that it's supposed to be wish fulfillment for any reader, but it's still kind of annoying. Open bracket. Especially when ambitious characters are villainous. Loki in the first Thor movie, he then turned into an anti-hero of sorts. Not a villain, but he is certainly a villain in the first movie. Dude just wanted his father to love him as much as he loved Thor. Then he finds out he was kidnapped from the Frost Giants and raised in a lie. I feel like Odin is the real villain for that family. Yep, then he gets called on his bullshit and has a heart attack or something and sleeps until everything blows off. Adrian Toomes, aka the Vulture from Spider-Man: Homecoming. He starts off as a small business owner cleaning up the mess that the Avengers left after the destruction of New York, and then loses that job because the man who was partly responsible for the mess in the first place steals the job right from under him. And instead of turning to revenge and becoming some kind of anarchist, he becomes a weapons dealer to pay his mortgage and take care of his employees. In fact, his whole motivation is to provide for his wife and daughter. take care of his employees right up until the point where he disintegrates that one guy and barely blinks and tries to kill a teenager. He may have started out well, but he definitely lost his way. Edit. Yes, I know he meant to grab the anti-gravity gun. You can stop mentioning IT now. I feel like Marvel always has their villains do something over the top to make it clear they're the villains. Killmonger was a great villain till he choked an old lady for no reason. Nebula from Guardians of the Galaxies. She was literally abused by Thanos and I don't know why, but I want to be her friend. She seems so depressed and I want to cheer her up. Edit. 4. 1k upvotes. What kind strangers gave me 4,100 upvotes? I absolutely love her and was so happy to see her making friends and becoming part of the team in Endgame. She had one of the greatest MCU character arcs. The color brown. I don't understand why everyone hates it. I do enjoy watching the confusion on people's faces when I say it's my favorite color though. Best color because chocolate is brown and chocolate brings happiness. Sandman from the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man series in the third movie. He just wanted to save his remaining family. Don't agree with his methods but do agree with his reason. That lady from Chicken Run. She was vilified for daring to try to start her own business. Besides, eating the chicken that doesn't make eggs seems like the wise thing to do in a farm. Mrs. Tweety, the chickens are revolting finally. Something we can agree upon. My favorite joke in the movie. I also liked, Great Scott, what was that? A Klingon, Captain, and the engines can't take it. Tai Lung from Kung Fu Panda. He legit trained his whole life to become the Dragon Warrior, but he didn't. Then threw a fit of rage and they built a prison specially for him. Then got sent to the other world for eternity. His whole life he chased after a dream and never got it. But isn't that the reason that he couldn't be Dragon Warrior? He was physically capable but mentally and emotionally, he wasn't ready to be the Dragon Warrior. But Poe wasn't physically, mentally, or emotionally ready either. He had to go through a horrid state of training to become the true Dragon Warrior. He's typically seen as a villain due to Disney and Satan, but I'm sympathetic to Hades. In his original myths the only bad thing he ever did was kidnap Persephone, and that was normal at the time. He even asked Zeus first. He treats Persephone kindly, and in most versions she falls in love with him and end. Outside of that myth, Hades mostly minds his own business and does his work. Edit. Wanted to add that I feel sympathy even in myths where Persephone does not love him back. There were many gods after her hand, and Hades was the nicest of them. If he hadn't taken her, I fear it's all too likely someone like Raz would take her and treat her much worse than Hades. Hades is like the only one of the Greek gods that actually acts maturely. The rest acts like spoiled 20-something rich kids. Plankton LOL cause he sucks. But he went to college. Tom. Because Jerry is an a-hole. Dr. Evil. Yeah, he didn't spend 6 years in evil medical school to be called Mr. Thank you very much. Anytime a romantic comedy features the story of a guy or girl meeting someone who is already in a relationship, I always feel bad for their soon-to-be ex. Think Sweet Home Alabama. Even when the ex gets painted as a nagging woman or a guy who works all the time, etc. I also hate the idea of there only being one right person for each of us being romanticized like that. I think love is just as much about making a choice as it is about the chemistry. Does Oscar the Grouch from Sesame Street count? Beachy lives in a ducking trash can. Stannis Baratheon. He's the forgotten middle child taken to the extreme. Gave his all to defend his home during Robert's rebellion, and as a reward gets an empty, depressing island while his baby brother gets Storm's End, who later disputes his rightful claim to the throne. It's no wonder he turned to all the ducked up shit he did. He felt like no one was on his side. Edit. Y'all. I'm not trying to say that I think he's a good person. I'm fully aware that he burned his ducking daughter at the stake. I just think it's interesting to think about the hole he went down to get to that point. You can be a horrible person and still be complex sympathetic. And yet for all the shit Bobby B got during his time, narratively, he was actually the best ruler of the Iron Throne during the entire series. Draco Malfoy. He deserved the redemption arc that Snape got. He was a child, and he didn't really have a choice about joining the Death Eaters. because his whole family was part of it and he didn't have anywhere else to go. And, you know, Voldy would have killed him. Draco grew up and became better than he was before. Plus the only reason he planned to kill Dumbledore is because he was under threat of his entire family being killed if he didn't. He was a terrified and brainwashed child. I honestly hate so much that he didn't get a real redemption arc. Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin. Outstanding actor. Nobody else could have humanized the character like he did. Squidward. Wouldn't really say he's a villain, he just tries to mind his own business. If anything, SpongeBob is the one that harasses everyone. Little annoying ducker. N from Pokemon Black and White edit. I know he's not the real villain in the end, but throughout his time being king of Team Plasma I still felt like his ambitions were true and I agreed with a lot of his opinions. Edit. Thank you so much for my first award ever. It means a lot to me. Edit. Also, to be educational. If you didn't know, N's name stands for Natural Hormonia Gropius. Scar from Full Metal Alchemist. Brotherhood. His people were victims to genocide and he wants revenge. If something like that happened to me I would also become a mass murderer. I am glad his character turned into a hero by the end. Edit. First gold. The Russian boxer in the Rocky movies. In the first one he is just laying the smack down on a douche. Sorry Apollo Creed. And in Creed 2 he beats the shit out of his obnoxious kid who won't fight anyone good. Darth Ducking Vader. Mr. Glass. Anyone would be a cranky, vindictive a-hole in a body like that. His bones break constantly. He cannot be touched or held. We are hardwired social animals who need touch and affection. You would have to be saintlier than any saint to rise above that kind of pain and deprivation. Harley Quinn. Winter Soldier. Syndrome from The Incredibles. The guy was rejected by the one he looked up to the most and tried to rid society of this false sense of needing heroes to do what anyone could if they had the technology. Thanos levels of sympathy for wanting the best for everyone, but messing everything up by having a twisted way of doing so. I just finished Spider-Man PS4 and cried my eyes out. Twice. I never, ever cry when playing games, but I always loved Peter Parker as a character. The worst thing is I don't even know who objectively is the villain. I like Norman Osborn in the game, and Doc Ock, and Martin Lee. Bruce from Finding Nemo. Even as a kid I was able to understand the allusion to dealing with addiction despite wanting to be an upstanding member of society. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.